Hi, friends. My name is Marielle, and I'm who you would consider the core personality or the core person in my D.I.D system. So, since I'm really early on in my channel, I decided instead of going into all the minutia that I just get right to the basics. So, a little bit about my story. How did I come to find out that I had D.I.D? So, most people are not diagnosed with D.I.D until like later on when it starts becoming more apparent that things are a little bit different. So I was diagnosed in my 30s, and to say that it was a shock is an understatement. Before my diagnosis, I was a misinformed person and I had my own judgments about what D.I.D was and what it wasn't. I believe the Hollywood narrative that it was basically either completely fabricated and people that supposedly had it were people that maybe had unresolved issues with needing to have a lot of attention, and they created or said that they had these personas in order to get, their needs for attention met. The other side, I thought, okay, if it is real, then this is probably way more severe than schizophrenia. I mean, if you literally believe that, like, you're multiple people, then perhaps you are exactly what the movies say. You're an unstable person, and you're probably downright dangerous. And I believed all of these myths and more. And I did not realize that the whole time I was judging someone just like me. I didn't know that it was me. I didn't know that I had it my entire life. And a lot of people might ask, how is it that you could go your whole life and not know that you have alternate personalities, like out there living life? How do you not know? And the irony of that is that that's the whole point of D.I.D. is your alters are supposed to basically take your trauma from you so that you are not aware of it. And I'm of the strong belief that it wasn't until that I was truly ready and I had already survived what I now know is like a terrifying, unpredictable environment growing up, that it wasn't until then and until after then that I was going to be ready to hear the stories from my alters. And at first I was really reticent and I was really downright phobic, to be honest with you. It took my therapist time to honestly meet and talk to my alters before I did. And then she would basically come back to me and tell me, like, it's okay, you don't need to be afraid. And then she started to bring me into these conversations where I could literally hear the alter speaking. And as I was hearing these parts of myself, they were talking about my grandpa and my brother and all of these people that I loved. And then they were also talking about some other people that they had been hurt by. And I had came to really realize, like, this is real. These are real parts with real stories. And I can no longer run from it. And I had to come to this place of courage and to put aside all of my judgments and just accept it for what it is. I have D.I.D. Now what do I do? So as the journey continued and I began to meet all my alters, I went from this place of, wow, people with this are just crazy, to really realizing, okay, so I think what it is I'm actually a trauma survivor that's incredibly resilient and resourceful. And it changed from dread to amazement that the young mind of a developing child is able to tune into all of the resources around them, whatever it is. It could be the cartoon that you're watching. It could be that, maybe that special aunt or person in your life. It could be just anything. And that young mind is tuning in and figuring out, what is it in my environment that I can hold on to feel safe. So many people with D.I.D, we were young, traumatized children dealing with repetitive abuse. And if you're in an environment where you have abusive or unavailable caretakers, these alters, the system is very real. It's not like this clinical thing. It becomes like this family, this internal family that can soothe the survivor, that can protect the survivor, that can give you a safe place. And a lot of people with D.I.D will talk about something called the inner world, and that's basically this place that can be made up of these things that comforted you as a child. So as I'm telling you all this, I guess what I want to really get across is that this is ultimately a neurological defense system, just created to help child survive. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be scared of. And it saddens me and it frustrates me now, looking back, realizing like all of the things that I believed about it just were so wrong. I mean, if people really truly understood what D.I.D was, like, I just think about how much it could change things for people. How many conversations we could have about what goes on behind closed doors, the resilience of the human spirit. This is what all of it's ultimately about, is children and all human beings are created with the need to not just to love and be loved and be protected, but to survive. And D.I.D is proof of that. Thanks for listening. And I look forward to sharing more next time. Bye.